Let's start by going back to the first thing I said. We can be saved believers eternally and still be enemies of what the cross has to offer us here on earth. The cross is much more than salvation. Philippians 3:18 and 19 says this, "For many walk, of whom I have told you often, and now tell you even weeping, that they are enemies of the cross of Christ, whose end is destruction, whose God is their belly, and whose glory is in their shame." Now, the three main points that stand out to me when I read this passage are the enemies of the cross, the word glory, and the word shame. And so let's break those down just a little bit by definition and by talking about what the enemy of the cross means for us today here on earth. So being an enemy of the cross would mean I don't know what all Jesus Christ died to give me through his death and resurrection. And that being said is he died to give me deliverance. He died to give me healing. He died to give me peace and joy. He died to give me a renewed mind. He died to give me prosperity, a future full of hope. There's so many things that's packaged up in the cross and everything that Jesus wants me to partake of as a believer here on this earth. None of the things that Jesus Christ died to give me am I going to need when I get in heaven, because everything's going to be perfect in heaven. But everything Jesus Christ died to give me is what I need here on this earth, which is healing and deliverance and peace and joy and victory over myself, victory over the trials and the battles that I walk through, the wisdom and the knowledge to know how to do it. There's so much that's wrapped up in the cross. Now let's look at glory. The meaning of glory in the Greek is exercising personal opinion which determines value. Now, exercising personal opinion about myself in a good way, a godly way, a kingdom way, or exercising personal opinion about myself in a very critical, unworthy, insecure way. And shame in the Greek means the confusion of one who is ashamed of anything. It doesn't matter what we're ashamed of, how big or small the circumstance or the wound is. Anything can cause us to feel shame. We are going to be confused about our value. Our opinion about ourselves is going to be a confused opinion. It's not going to be the opinion that God has for us. So when we exercise our personal opinion towards ourselves based on anything that has caused us shame, we are ultimately saying there's our value and there's our worth. It could be a failure of some kind. It could be a divorce, an affair, drugs or alcohol, a loss of a job, relationship, childhood wounds. There's many things that can cause us to feel shame. The thing about it is when we base our opinion and our worth off of something that causes us to feel shame, we become enemies of the cross, because we are not going to have the confidence, the boldness, or the courage to walk out the will of God for our lives. We will shrink back from our destiny. We will shrink back from the call of God that lies within us and the things that He has asked us to do and called us to do. If we have a shame-based identity and we have a critical, worldly opinion about ourselves, we will not walk in the fullness of what our salvation has to offer us. We will not walk in the fullness of what Jesus Christ died and suffered to give us. And so it's very important to know what's in the full package of the cross. And it's also very important to know that our identity is not based on anything that causes us shame.